G'day, today we're talking about starting a service skills side hustle. Now look, salary negotiations are great, but they're very limited by the way corporate politics works. And my all-time favorite way of making extra money and telling other people how to make extra money is to start a side hustle. You need to be a wee bit careful with it, but figure out how to do it all outside work time. So what is a side hustle, you might ask? Well, simply put, side hustles are freelance businesses that can generate you cash outside your normal working hours and not in the office, like graphic design or copywriting and editing. The best part is freelance businesses are easily scalable, so you can make quite a lot of money if you're willing to devote just a little bit of time to it, or if you get busy in other areas of your life, you can kind of scale it back. And ultimately, you can actually scale it up to the point where you can say to your normal, boring 9-to-5 job, sayonara, wouldn't want to see ya. I reckon there's 5 steps to making extra money on the side. The first one is find a profitable business idea. Now, I just mentioned the fact that finding a profitable business idea is as simple as looking at your strengths, and you can do that by answering 3 simple questions right now and finding a side hustle that's perfect for you. So here are those 3 questions. Number 1, what skills do you have? What we're looking at is what do you actually know and what do you know well, because these are the skills that you have that you're great at, and these are the things that people will pay you for, to either teach them or to use them for their businesses. For example, fluency in a foreign language is something that you're going to teach other people. Programming knowledge will be stuff that you can actually do for a client, similarly with content writing and social media management. The next thing to do is get an objective view of what you're good at, called Ask Your Friends. So what do your friends say that you're great at? Now, I love this question because it's actually really useful. It's not only a good little ego boost, but it also is incredibly revealing, okay? So it's actually going to tell you where you're almost good at something, and you possibly might even learn what you need to do to bring your skills up, to level up, so that you go from like a 4 out of 10 to a 7 out of 10, and then you can really legitimately go out and run that side hustle. And the kind of examples, you might be really good at doing workout routines, or you might be great at giving relationship advice, or you might have great fashion sense. You need to kind of broaden your imagination. This isn't only about content, web development, and social media. You've got to think outside the square, because people will pay other people for a very wide range of things. On that vein, what do you do on a Saturday morning? When everybody else is still asleep, what do you do on a Saturday morning? Because this will really reveal what you're truly passionate about and what you like to spend your time on. For example, you might be browsing fashion websites, or following your fitness plan, or reading SEO improvement articles, a whole myriad of things that you would find interesting that probably there's a market for, to show other people either how to do or to do it for them. So find an answer to the questions that I've just given you, and I promise you, you will actually find a profitable business idea in there. Right, so now you've found your business idea. The number 2 thing that you need to do is go and find some good leads by standing out. Now, here's a really interesting little tip. A fantastic place to find new clients for your side hustle freelance job is the classified ads section of online newspapers and the local rag, who are looking for staff. In fact, when it comes to finding clients, this really has a lot going for it. Here's why. It's free for you to find. It's easy for you to get the contact details of the person who wants the skills that you've got. You know exactly what their pain point is because they've told you. You know how much they're prepared to pay to fix the pain. And if it's not in the ad, then it's just a quick phone call and you'll find out. You know they want to move quickly. All you have to remember is one simple thing. The vast majority of people who apply for work to advertisements are terrible candidates. They can't put a good message about themselves together, much less even have the skills that are necessary. That which means that if you put just a little bit of effort into making sure that your application looks really good, you're immediately going to stand out from the pack. And if you're offering a credible alternative, you might just find that the recruiting manager hadn't even thought of using a freelancer to get the work done, and maybe there isn't the volume of work that justifies a full-timer after all. So this is exactly what you can start doing to generate effective leads. by standing out. So if you took the time to write a great email with a bit of humor in it, reaching out to those companies, you'll immediately separate yourself from 99.9999% of others who are just sending really boring boilerplate emails where they get the wrong company name at the top because they're just doing cut and paste, and actually that don't get them anywhere. The beauty of this approach is that you can use this with any job site. The key is just to be slightly better than average and willing to test out a few emails to see which ones get more frequently opened. Now here's a few suggestions of some great sites that freelancers can use to find business. If you're a writer, look at mediabistro.com or upwork.com. If you are an illustrator or a designer, go to 99designs.com or designs.net. For programmers, there's toptail.com and there's gun.io. So look, that's just a very small list. There are mega numbers of lists for virtually any skill that you've got. So go and find them out. And as I said, use the knowledge that you've got and pitch yourself really, really well. And you'll stand out so far ahead of everybody else, you'll be amazed at how quickly it works for you. Now, step 3 is use what I call the 5-line email pitch to qualify your leads. So after you've got a few leads from potential clients, then you're going to need to craft a pitch that is tailored to their needs and concerns. Not what you want, what they want. Because in doing so, you're going to be stressing the benefits of working with you while not giving away too much information as to how you're actually going to help. Now, I lost my fair share of clients when I was starting out by giving away exactly how I would help them in my initial reach out email, which was stupid because then they looked around and found somebody else that they wanted to use and said, oh, can you do that as well? Yeah, and I lost it. So what I've done over the years is I've developed a 5-line email template that you can use to send the perfect email pitch. And here's what's in it. Number 1, the introduction. You're going to want to build rapport in the first sentence by introducing yourself and how you know the client. Number 2 is the offer. Talk about them. Talk about what it is that you want to do for them. Why are you good for that role? You're going to want to do some research on the organization to see what they need help with so that you can match what you're good at with what they really, really need, their pain point. And the 3rd line is the benefit. Walk them through how your work will benefit their company. Are you going to free up more time for them? Are you going to maximize profits by X amount? Are you going to reduce their costs? Are you going to help them grow market share? Okay, the old sales value triangle. The 4th thing is get your foot in the door. This is a classic technique that utilizes an old psychology trick to get the client to agree to a small agreement now so you can ask for a larger agreement later on. And number 5 is the call to action. Be clear with this and ask them if they would like to proceed. The call to action is absolutely critical in this process. So when it's all put together, it looks a little bit like this. Hi, client's name. I read your article about X and I noticed that you've recently started using videos on your website. I've been doing video editing for 3 years and I'd like to offer to help you edit your videos and get them optimized for the website. That would make them look more professional and load faster, which is important for your readers. And you'd free up time so that you could use that to create new content. Now we can discuss the details, of course, but first I wanted to see if this is something that you might be interested in. If so, would it be okay if I sent you a few ideas on how I can help? Best Steve. Step 4, the tuner strategy to charge the perfect price. People always get tripped up about pricing, which is why I always hear questions like, well, how much should I be charging? Is X amount too little or is it too much? Should I be charging by the hour or per project? And you know, these are really relevant questions. I'm not denigrating them at all. And in our online course, we spend a lot of time talking about this very subject, okay? These are the questions that every freelancer should be asking when they start out. And while there are no set rules for rates, there's actually a couple of quick and dirty methods that you can use to find out one that works for you. Now, bear in mind that there is absolutely no real substitute for doing this properly and building up your hourly rate from the ground up. But look, just to get into the swing of things, here's a couple of those quick methods that you can use when you're just starting out. First one's called the drop 30 methods. Simply take your ideal, read realistic salary that you want to earn, divide it by 2, and then drop 3 zeros from it. Boom, you have an hourly rate. For example, Say you'd really like to earn at least $80,000. Just take out the 3 zeros from the end, which makes 80, divide it by 2, you've got an hourly rate of $40. It's a bit rough and ready, but it'll get you started. Number 2 is double your resentment number. I love this one because I just love the way that it's described. It's both interesting and effective. Ask yourself, what is the lowest rate that you'd work for, which would leave you resentful of your work and of your client for paying you such a crap number. So let's say that you would work for $15 an hour at the very least. You won't go below that, and that makes you really angry, that number. So double it, and now you're earning $30 an hour, okay? So now you're on a far better rate, and you do the work for that. Number 3, do what the next guy does the same thing for. This method is actually incredibly simple. Just go to Google and search for the average hourly rate for whatever service you're providing. You'll get a good sense of where to start when you're charging your clients. And the best part is that after you start charging your clients, you can learn to take on more or less work until you earn the amount that you want. So for example, after you earn your first $1,000, it's incredibly easy to start dialing your prices up and charging even more money to your clients, because now you've got some background of expertise and you've got some testimonials and you've got some social proof. So my suggestion is you actually start tuning your rates after you've got those first few clients. Were you making $30 before? Charge $40 or even $50 on a particular project, because there's no hard and fast rules for how much you should charge. Just start tuning it up like a guitar string until you find a rate that you're happy with and your client is still happy to pay it. And step 5, use the 85% rule to invest in yourself. And when it comes to starting a new business, too many of us will just get overwhelmed thinking that we need to do everything perfectly. In fact, many will just spin their wheels doing things like starting a blog and creating a Facebook page and buying ads on Google and hiring skywriters to promote their businesses in the skies, whatever it is. It's actually a really easy way to get burned out and to get no results. And what happens is it leads us to doing nothing at all. Now look, your goal is not to start a blog or to create a Facebook page or get millions of likes. Your goal is to find paying clients. That's why the easiest way to start freelancing is to take things one step at a time and not worry about getting it perfect. This is where the 85% rule comes in. I would rather get things 85% right and get started on them rather than aiming for the law of diminishing returns and getting it to 98%, by which time the opportunity has completely passed me by and I end up doing nothing. Look, it's okay to make some mistakes. The important thing is that you get started and then you learn from those mistakes. And the best way to get started is to begin investing in yourself. Now, one thing that you will find very common with people who have not taken the time to invest in themselves and to learn how all this stuff works is that they will create what's called levels of abstraction. Okay, levels of abstraction. So rather than just going directly to what they want, they will create all these different levels of abstraction, like making a Facebook page or a blog that make them feel good, but actually don't require them to do any of the hard work called going out and talking to people and pitching to them and winning the work. So they'll spend 6 or 9 or 12 months doing something frustrating, and then they give up because they never ever spent time buying a couple of good books or buying a course and learning how to, for example, get clients. We put all these mental barriers in front of us when we're trying to make extra money. Things like, oh, I'm not ready to make extra money because of this particular issue. Or, oh, Steve, I don't think I can possibly work on a side business because I just don't have enough time. And I don't think I even have a business idea. Look, there are always going to be excuses when it comes to trying something new. But when you take a look at some of them, you'll realize that they are always, almost always anyway, mental barriers. And here's how you can break past the 3 most common mental barriers that I keep seeing all the time. Okay, the first one is mental barrier number 1. I don't have time to make the extra money. It's always funny to me when people tell me that they don't have enough time for their regular job, let alone a freelance business on the side. Well, I actually have a wee secret that I'd like to tell you that might blow your mind around this. You do have the time. There's no doubt about it. Starting a freelance business will take time, but not nearly as much as you think. Can you spare an hour a day to devote to freelancing? How about a few hours on the weekends? I'm guessing that you can if you get yourself organized. Maybe instead of spending your after work time endlessly binging Netflix or browsing Reddit, you can actually devote yourself to starting a business that will actually earn you thousands of extra dollars this year. And you can do it from your laptop on the couch. Saying I don't have the time is really saying this is not a priority. Just try that out, okay? Making money, no, it's not a priority. Compared to, browsing Facebook is not a priority. Which one of those is true? Making money is not a priority, or browsing Facebook is not a priority? Well, you give it a bit of thought. Okay, mental barrier number 2, but I'm so tired when I come home from work. I'm making a bit of a joke of it, but actually it is a very valid concern. After all, many of us work long 8-hour days. So how are we expected to come home and work on freelancing when all we want to do is pour ourselves a glass of wine and put on the latest episode of The Bachelor, or maybe that's just me. But, it's difficult. But you can actually do it successfully with some simple psychology. Imagine a smoker. Now, many smokers know that smoking is a bad habit and it's terrible for their health, but they still do it because of what's called cognitive dissonance. What they'll say is, yeah, I know it's really bad for me, but I work really hard and I just deserve this packet of cigarettes. Now, it could be the same thing as starting a business. At the end of a long work day, you'll say to yourself, I worked all day and I dealt with my really stupid numpty boss and blah, blah, blah. I really deserve just to lie on the couch with a glass of wine and watch Netflix. Now, instead of falling victim to that kind of cognitive dissonance, remember this one question. Where do I want to be a year from now? On the couch with a glass of wine? So this is something that my parents told me a very, very long time ago, and I've never forgotten it. Where do I want to be a year from now? And what small steps can I take to get there? Notice I keep talking about step by step and small steps. Right throughout all my videos, we're talking step by step and taking bite-sized chunks, okay? So when you look at some really successful freelancers who earn hundreds of dollars an hour, many people are thinking, oh, I'll never be able to earn that. But you know what? You can, so long as you start today. And a year from now, you'll be earning much more than you would if you didn't do anything at all. A mental barrier number 3, I don't have a good business idea. This is the most common barrier preventing people from making money freelancing, not knowing what type of work they want to do. As I've outlined in the steps above though, it's simple to identify your profitable skills so long as you do a little bit of analysis and you look at 4 things. What are you already paying other people to do for you? What skills do you have? What do your friends say you're great at? What do you do on a Saturday morning? And the answer to this mental barrier will serve as the very first step in creating your side business. So if you like this topic, we have an upcoming online course that will teach you in detail everything that you need to get on your feet and build a business using your skills from scratch. And the link is in the description. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It'll help support the channel. And if there's anything that you'd like for me to talk about, drop them in the comments. And please remember to click on the bell icon to join the notification squad to get notified every time we upload, because I respond to questions in the first hour. I'll see you in the next video and I'll catch you later.